Hi guys, today I'm going to show you how to prepare a cricket bat at home. You will see how to do oiling, knocking and how to look after the bat.
Okay, so this is about the bat that you are going to purchase. Uh, uh, when you purchase a bat, you might purchase a bat with a face cover on, and sometimes you might purchase a bat with the face cover, right? So the cover is basically protecting the face of the bat. If you purchase a bat without a face cover, as you see here, as you can see here, you have an option of oiling and preparing the bat properly. Basically the face where it's going to hit the ball, and then you have an option of applying the additional face cover after preparing the bat. But if you purchase a bat with the face cover like this, then if you want to oil this bat, oil and knock the bat, then you have to remove the face cover first, and then go through the 3-step process of knocking and oiling and knocking, and then get the bat to be in a state where it could play. If you decide to play from your bat as it is, how you purchased, with or without the face cover, without going through the knocking process or oiling process, you can play as is, because normally the bats are ready to play. But if you do decide to prepare your bat, now this starts the process of oiling first. So how much oil to put in the bat in one go is not more than a teaspoon, right? So the first step is in the oiling is that you take your raw linseed oil and put a little bit, half a teaspoon to quarters teaspoon of linseed oil to a spoon. So that gives you a measure of how much oil should be used when you oil the bat first time. Once you have the oil in your teaspoon, very easiest thing is to use your index finger to get a little bit of oil from the teaspoon. Start applying the oil outside, everywhere in the bat, from very slightly, all over. Once you do that, once you do your non-playing face oiling, you turn your bat into the face, and then you keep applying oil all over the bat. And once you do that first round, that's your first round of oiling, you leave the bat for a day in a place, in a flat surface like this, for a day until all the oil soaked into the bat. So once you finish, after a day, you will find all the oil is soaked everywhere into the open surface where the stickers are not there. So bat will be pretty much dry. Now comes the second day. You take a half a teaspoon, not as much you took on the first day. You take a half a teaspoon of raw linseed oil, and then second day you will be applying your oil only to the face of the bat. So you will be just playing surface only, right? Make sure it applied thoroughly, right, and evenly, and leave the bat in a flat like this somewhere to oil to be absorbed into the face. So now comes your third day. Now you will see the oil that you applied to the face is all soaked in. Before you go through your last oiling process, you must take a dry cloth and rub the bat properly to take any extra dirt and oil that might have. So clean the bat first, and then now you go through your final oiling process. Again, you take a half a teaspoon of linseed oil and then use your index finger and then again apply the oil only to the playing surface of the bat, and leave the bat overnight for a dry. So this is how you would apply oil to the bat. So take a bit of oil to the teaspoon, and then you can use that much of oil from your index finger, dip your finger, and then keep applying the oil only to the surface, rubbing the finger. So here the process is that I'm applying the second and the third day. Basically how you prepare the surface of the bat to be knocked in, before knocked in. So you can see it is very simple, and then keep applying that much of oil, just a half a teaspoon, right? Maybe towards the edge. You don't have to go through the sides, because that's already oil once, and this is going to go through the edge to the playing surface, back to the oil, and back to the toe of the bat. So now you can see how the surface looks like with bit of oil applied, and within a day or so all this oil will be soaked into the bat properly, and it will be ready for knocking after your third time applying the oil. You will see that there are 3 types of mallets are used when you prepare a bat, but in your case you may have only one type or more. So first comes the normal mallet that everyone see. It's small head with a small weight, and this is the most common mallet anyone would have. This mallet does the same job, but it's a heavier mallet. So if you find a situation that you need to have a bit of a dent in the bat, you can use this mallet. This particular mallet is a bit different because the face of the mallet is, the big one is more flatter and the small one is a bit roundish. So the dent that you make when you hit the bat decides from the face of the mallet. This mallet is called the ball mallet, where this one is used to check whether the bat is knocked in properly. For example, when you use the ball mallet and when you hit the face of the bat with the shiny side of the ball, it will not do anything, but it will make a small dent. But if you do decide to hitting the seam from the ball to the bat, if you see the seam marks, for example, if I hit and if I see the seam mark with a dent in the bat, that tells me that that area is not properly knocked in. And then you can go back to the small mallet and then slowly start working in that area until you press that willow properly into the face. So when you're ready to knock the bat, make sure it is properly oiled 3 times and rested properly. And before you oil, you take a clean paper and wipe the surface properly to make the surface clean. And when you buy a new bat, you will see the edge of the bat is more prominent. But when you start knocking in, the idea of knocking in is that pressing the willow of the playing surface and making it a harder surface. So in willow, when you make the playing surface more, when you press the surface and the surface behind that level is more softer, and when you knock in, the surface will become more harder and pressed. So first you start knocking the bat around the edges. So you would be hitting the bat in like a 45-degree angle slowly, going across all the way, and you would be hitting, denting, doing the same thing to your toe, 45 degrees, and then keep coming back on the other side, going slowly all the way until the end of your playing surface. Here we go. So this is how you start knocking in the edge. Make sure you go slow first and not to break the edges. So you start slowly. So once you finished knocking in around the edges, 45-degree angle, maybe 2 to 3 times, now you can concentrate on knocking the face. There's two ways of doing this. First thing is that you will start hitting the bat slowly from the mallet with a base, nice and steady pace in along the grains. The second way of doing it is that you start in a spot where you want to start pressing the willow and then go around and widen the area. So likewise, if I go with the second method, I would start hitting from the center and then work around that spot, and then I will. So that way I am concentrating just the center, starting from a small spot, working around and then widening the spot, and then slowly work that way towards, towards the end, and then work that way all the way for the finishing the surface. The second way is that you would start from a corner and then keep hitting along the grains. So that way, that will happen like this. So once you knock the bat first day or first time, maybe for 10-12 minutes, you will feel the sound of the bat changes. So for example, if I hit the mallet towards the splice or towards the top, it will give not a pinging sound. But if I hit towards the sweet spot, it will give a different sound. But if I hit towards the toe, it will give a different sound. So it's something like this. So here it will be a sweet spot. It will be top area. And if it is top, bottom, something like this. So you can see the sound difference. So that means when you start knocking the bat, you will get more and more ping from the middle of the bat. So once you prepare your bat to the state that can play, first take the bats to the nets and use a ball to play and see how the bat is responding. First thing you should do is, before you knock the bat, take a good ball and then start hitting the bat and see how the sound of the bat changes, or try to identify the sweet spot. So if you hit a bat that is not properly knocked in, you might hear a different sound when you hit the ball. But when you prepare the bat and when you use the same ball, you will see a different sound and how the bat is responding to the ball. Once you knock the bats first time, then what you should do is, if you have the ball mallet, hit from the ball mallet in couple of places in hitting the seam, and see whether you can see any dents from the seam is appearing on the bat. So for example, you will just hit. So now if you see any seam marks on the spots that you have hit, that means the surface is not knocked in properly. If you find any seam marks, you go back to your small mallet and do the knocking only to the center of the bat. You should not knock back the edge again, because edge is already knocked in properly. So once you go through that process, you take the ball mallet again and then see whether you find any dents. If there's no dents, then the bat is knocked in. If you find any dents, you go through that process maybe two or three times until the surface is nice and flat. So now your bat is ready to play, because you have checked your bat with a softer ball in the nets and you know how the bat performs. So now you will go and play your inning, and during or after the match, now you have to make sure that you keep your bat inside a proper bat cover. So make sure after your inning, you put the bat in your proper bat cover and put it in a material bag. The second thing is that you should be aware of the condition of the bat toe guard. If the toe guard is ripped or there's no toe guard, there's a higher chance that moisture in the turf or the ground is going to creep in to the bat, because you will be hitting, every time that you hit the bat in the ground, the moisture will start creeping in from the toe, and the moisture level from the bottom of the bat will be more. So there's a higher chance that the bat is going to break for a yorker or ball hitting this area if the moisture is more in the toe, because you don't have a proper toe guard. So make sure that if the toe guard is ripped, you get it done properly. There's two types of products that you can use to manage or maintain your toe guard. The first type is standard rubber toe guard that you would purchase from a cricket shop, then apply with a glue, and then you can replace once or twice a year when the toe guard get wasted. The other type of toe guard that you can use is a glue called shoe glue. Shoe glue comes from a tube, and then you can apply the shoe glue to the bottom of the toe guard, and then that will become hardened after a day or so. So if you leave, this is the soft glue or called shoe glue that you can apply to the bottom of the bat. Now comes to a stage that your season probably be over, or after 6 months or so after you prepare your bat first time, the bat has to go through a maintenance, or you have to look after the surface and the bat for the next year or so. So what you should do is you should re-oil the bat, maybe just a 1/4 teaspoon of oil, and you should be oiling the bat in the full surface where the stickers and including the playing surface. That's all you have to do. So make sure that you take just a 1/4 teaspoon of oil and then apply everywhere, all over the exposed places, including the playing surface, and then keep the bat. You should not oil more than twice for an year. Just a 1/4 teaspoon of oil twice a year.
Thanks for watching this. I'll see you next time with another video. Remember to subscribe my channel. You will see more videos like this. See you next time.